look, you know I've been dying to tell you what I heard, right? But I was like, I got to wait till the time is right. I had some house guests over last week, and I was like, I can't talk about this with house guests in the house. But I was on vacation. Y'all know I was away on my cruise. And when I came back from my cruise, one of my neighbors, the lady next door, said, you know, Miss Andrews up the block has been very sick. And I was like, oh, is she going to be okay? And they were like, yeah. She was in the hospital or whatever. She's back home. But because she's, she's elderly or whatever, everybody in the neighborhood's been going to visit her. Well, my little niece was staying here with me, so I was like, okay, I'm going to bake a pound cake. You know, my mama's a good pound cake recipe with a little bit of lemon, has a nice crunchy top. Anyway, so I bake a pound cake, and I go up there to see Miss Andrews, and I take my little niece with me. My little niece, she's like in her 20s, right? So Miss Andrews like, come on, baby, come on. Oh, it's so good to see you, Kathy. Thank you so much for, oh, this pound cake is so good. Oh, I love it. It's so wonderful. So we just sit and have a little chitty chat. I'm just trying to be a good sociable neighbor, like you do. So Miss Andrews, now, she's a nice lady. Sometimes she's a lot, though. She's one of those who's better than you. I don't care what the situation is. She's better than you. She's a better cook than you, and she's a better housekeeper than you. Now, listen, I'm not the world's best housekeeper, so, okay, girl, you can have that, whatever. Her husband is better than your husband, but her husband has passed. Now, I didn't really know her husband like that, but from people on the block, they were like, she talks about him like he was a saint. He was like, I guess he was okay. But, the way she talked about this man. But, okay, she loved her husband a real lot. That ain't none of my business. So then she says to my niece, come on, baby. Hi, let me see you. So she pulls my niece in real close, like to give her a hug or whatever. I was like, okay, I don't know what kind of sick germs you got. Don't be like breathing on my niece or whatever. And she said, darling, are you married? And my niece is like, no, ma'am, no. She said, well, have you found yourself a nice boyfriend? And my niece is like, well, no, ma'am, I'm still pretty young. Here come Miss Andrews, who never had any children. There's nothing wrong with not having any children. She was like, says to my niece, well, if you want to have some babies, you better hurry up because you're not getting any younger. Now, I want to just take my pound cake back, but I'm trying to be a good person, right? And so she says, listen, maybe one day you will get lucky and you will meet somebody as wonderful as my husband. Oh, he was so wonderful. He was the best man. He was a beautiful man. He was sexy. He was caring. He took good care of me. We traveled. She spent the next 20 minutes talking about how wonderful her husband was. And I was like, okay, we get it. And going on and on to just bending my niece's ear. You got to find a man. Okay, she's old. That's like a very old fashioned mindset. If my niece want to be single and never have children, ain't none of my business. I don't care. Right. So we left after a little, made an appropriate visit, said our goodbyes or whatever, made sure she was okay, made her a cup of tea, everything, cut her a slice of the cake, and we went on. So I come back to my neighbor. My niece is just laughing because my niece thought it was hilarious. But I was a little bit like, she need to mind her business. She don't even really know my niece like that, right? How she know my niece is not a lesbian? She's not, but still. So the lady next door says, well, you know the story with her husband, right? I was like, now I want a cup of tea. Tell me every single thing. She said, listen, Miss Andrews was like 43 before she got married. Oh, so I said, so that's why she never had kids. She said, no, she never had kids because her husband was way older than her. Okay, whatever. Men, they say can have babies like up to forever. She was like, well, I don't know if you like really got a good eyeball on him, but he was easily 700 pounds. I had heard he was a big man. I assumed that meant he was like tall. No, he was like, that show Max 600 Pound Life. He could have been on my 600 pound life. He was like big and old enough to be her father. Now this woman's out here giving my niece advice on how to get a good man, a wonderful man like her husband. Come to find out, her husband never worked a day of their marriage. She was a school teacher, so she brought in the money that, they had enough to live or whatever. But he stayed home, number one, because he was too old. Number two, because he was too fat. Number three, he was so big, he couldn't drive a car because he couldn't fit behind the wheel. I was like, Lord Jesus. Now, what else do you know about him? Because, I had to pull up my cup of coffee. I wanted to know every single thing. She said, well, how did she even meet him? If he couldn't really go out like that, he couldn't drive. Child, turns out her friends set her up with him as a joke. It was supposed to be a practical joke. She fell in love with him and married him and acted like he was the best thing since sliced bread. Reportedly, allegedly, when she met him, he was unhoused. Only it was the 70s. Now you would say somebody was unhoused. Back in the 70s, child, you was just homeless. You was a hobo, a bum. He probably had one of them sticks with a little kerchief tied on the end of it, carrying around his stuff. The man was sleeping in a tent in the park. How are you out here in these streets? You have to find a husband as wonderful as my husband. Oh, I loved him so much. Oh, he treated me so good. Yeah, because he knew if he didn't treat you good, you would have his behind back down there in a tent. What? And then my neighbor's daughter came in and said he was nasty too. I was like, maybe that meant he wasn't a good housekeeper. When he was living, the kids would go play in his yard. And instead of, old people would be like, oh, get out of my yard. No. He would stand in front of the window and rough up his suspect, rub himself. What in the nasty nonsense? This is the man that we're all supposed to aspire to? Your nasty 700-pound husband who was living in the park when you met him. You were set up as a practical joke. I said, well, how did he die? Child, turned out he went to reach for a sandwich, stumbled. I don't know if the chair broke, if he stumbled, something related to a chair. But when they found him, the fire department had to come and remove him from the house. But when they lifted him up, underneath him was a smashed chair. Y'all, this is the last time I'm going to hear this heifer preach to me about how wonderful her husband was and all her husband did. You know what your husband did do? Really embarrass you and have everybody on this block talk about you. But she's old. I'm sure she has like revisionist memory or whatever. And she's trying to remember how wonderful her life was with this trifling ass man. Y'all, they took him to the hospital thinking he had a heart attack, right? Because he was reaching for some kind of food or whatever. The chair was broke underneath him. When they did the autopsy, found a chicken bone in his throat. Turned out the man choked on a chicken bone. Y'all, I was done. I was done. So done. Now, I do want to go get my cake plate back because, I took her the cake. I should have just wrapped that nice cake in foil. It's a pound cake. It would be fine. You put some plastic, you put in some foil. I'm going to get my cake plate back. But next time I go, I'm going to look around her house to see if I see pictures of old Dumbo. Her husband. May he rest. Apparently, they weren't married for that long. Probably living indoors, living outdoors was probably hard on his body. They was only married for like 10, 15 years. I guess that's relatively a long period of time. But the way she talks about this, he was a saint and he treated her so good and whatever. He probably praised her. Thus, she was the queen. Because he ain't have to live in the park no more. Listen, now I ain't one to gossip. So you ain't heard none of this from me.